This is Lisa from Live and Let Stamp, and I'm recording my first video, so bear with me. I'm sure it won't go perfectly, but I'm gonna do the best I can. So today we are going to be making this card for Valentine's Day. It is made with Country Bouquet stamp set, which is available with the Country Floral Lane Suite, which is just beautiful. The colors that coordinate with this that we'll be using today are Sweet Sorbet and Mossy Meadow. So we're gonna start by making the card base. So I'm gonna use Sweet Sorbet, and I wanna show you, just in case you don't have the Stampin' Up cutter. Maybe you've been, you have a cutter that does okay, and I did too for a long time, but I wish I had bought this long ago because it has some really neat features. So the thing I love about it is you can have both the cutting blade and the scoring blade on at the same time. So I want to cut my Sweet Sorbet to 5.5 because we're going to make a standard A2 card. Get back up there. So now I can take that cutting blade and I can put it up here out of the way. I don't have to take it out. And I can bring up my scoring blade and score. So they never have to come out. So I don't know about you, but I used to always lose or misplace my scoring blade, my cutting blade. So this is just great. And it cuts really, really well. It has an arm that comes out and extends if you need that. And the replacement blades are really not that expensive. I think you get 4 in a pack for like $11. So not a bad price, and they last a long time. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my bone folder. Now you always wanna bury the bump there. And I'm just gonna get that so it'll lay nice and flat. Now I'm gonna go for my Mossy Meadow cardstock. I have this little piece here I think will work. Now I use this as a mat for the DSP because I just like a little bit of matting in the back. So I'm gonna cut this one to 5.25 by 4, and that weighs already 5.25, so I just need to cut this way by 4. The DSP with this suite is so very pretty. So I've kind of fanned them out here so you can see some of these gorgeous papers. Look how pretty that is. And that actually has a punch that comes in the suite where you can punch out the heart and the leaves to make kind of like a flower out of it. It's really super pretty. Love these bicycles. But today we're gonna be using this one, which is the hearts. I've got a little piece there, that one might work. So I just want this one a little bit smaller than the mat. So I'm just gonna take off 1/8. So 5 1/8, which that is by 3 7/8. Get up there. Now this will go right there, and you'll see it just give a little bit of green around the edges. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna adhere that with my Stampin' Seal. I don't like to use the liquid glue on large areas like the layers, because sometimes the liquid glue kind of makes your card feel stiff and what am I not doing right here? Come on. There we go. How to make your card feel stiff. So I like to use the Stampin' Seal, which I'm doing a terrible job of doing right now, but okay. So I want to get that nice little border around the edge. Okay, so now when that goes on the card front, you'll see we still have that nice red border, but a little bit of green there that really sets off the pattern. But we're not gonna adhere that just yet because we're gonna have this twine wrap around this piece. So we're just gonna set that to the side and we're gonna go ahead and stamp our heart. So I love two-step stamps because the look is really nice and it's pretty quick to do. So I'm gonna use the same two colors for my heart parts, and I'm going to do that one in the Sweet Sorbet, as you could tell from the staining on it, and then this one will be from that. So I lay this down like this because with a stamp like this, it can kind of, if you try to just lay it on here, it might not be the right shape, and then when you go to piece this in, it won't be it won't fit in where it needs to be. Take a piece of Whisper White, and this is going to be die cut, so it doesn't have to be centered too much. And go ahead and stamp that. Just kiss the stamp pad. Nice. I don't know if you can see the detail very well, but it comes out like, it looks blotchy, but that's how it's supposed to look because it's that distinctive stamp where it's a little darker in some places than others, which really gives it a nice bit of dimension. Now, when you're stamping with your photopolymer stamps, it's good to have, like I've got this whole pad of paper under here, or your piercing mat or something like that, because you don't have that rubber layer. So now I'm gonna lay this down, and I'm using the same block. And for this one, I'm gonna stamp off because I don't want it to be such a dark green. I want it to be a little bit lighter. So I'm going to ink it up, and then I'm gonna stamp on my background paper. And now take your time on this step, and you want to line everything up so everything fits in the spots it's supposed to fit in. Kind of turn it a little and stamp. Nice firm stamp. There, oh, it looks great. So you see this screen is really bold, and by stamping off, it just comes out a little lighter. So that keeps our red the focus, the focal point of that stamp. To cut this out, I'm gonna die cut it, and I'm gonna use the Stylish Shapes dies, which are stitched. I love stitched dies. I have so many of them. And I'm gonna use the large square to cut that. I'm gonna use my cut and emboss machine. I just got new plates, which is super exciting. So here's a little tip that I like to do, because even though this is a new plate, it probably wouldn't imprint a lot, but I like to very gently just lay on a piece of copy paper that's been folded in half. You know, you can save up your scraps. It does need to be pristine though, because if it has any wrinkles or anything, it'll put that wrinkle right into your die cut. Okay, sorry about that. And there is our heart for our card, yay! Okay, now we're ready to adhere it to this. Again, I'm gonna use the Stampin' Seal, just a little on the corners. I want it kind of close to the edge because the sentiment is pretty big. And now, oh no, now I need to do the twine. So I'm using the 2022-2024 in color Baker's Twine pack because that's where you'll find that Sweet Sorbet since it is an in color. And I want to have about, I want to loop it. I'm going to loop it 3 times. So I have to have quite a bit of twine. So I'm actually going to pull this out. And I'm going to have about a little over 3 yards. So that's 12, 24, 36, and it's about 42 inches. Cut that. I'm going to start wrapping that. Leave a little here. Actually, I want to wrap it the other way. No? Nope, that was right. 1, 2. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I need a little bit more this way. Sorry this is taking so long. I hate videos that go too long. Like I said, I'm learning. Okay, so I've got it wrapped 3 times and I'm gonna go ahead and tie a knot. Move that down a little bit. It'll go right under that Happy Valentine's Day sentiment. I'm going to go ahead and tie the little bow. Make it a little smaller. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then just trim the ends a bit. Okay. Now I'm ready to adhere it to the card base. I like to put a little near that twine. Kind of keep it in place. There we go. To make the sentiment, I'm going to be using the Lovely Labels Pick a Punch. I'm going to be using this side. Get that open. So our white cardstock needs to be a 1/2 inch. Yeah, I know I don't need this much though. That in the scrap pile. Okay, so I'm lining it up right here on the 1/2 inch, not this side, but this side. Or not. It's kind of bowed, isn't it? That looks good. Now it does have to be perfect to go in. Oh, awesome. Fits perfectly. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do my stamp. Using the Happy Valentine's Day stamp, again from Country Bouquet, same stamp set. Using my Sweet Sorbet. So that little edge caused by the cutter there. Okay, ink it up. I'm kind of doing it near the middle, but I'll show you how I'm going to trim that down. Awesome. So I've always had trouble getting these centered. So what I came up with was I'm going to put the edge of the ink from the Y right here on the 3/4 and trim. And then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to do the same thing with the ink of the H right on the 3/4 and trim, and then it'll be centered once I put it through the punch. Okay, so there's the Happy Valentine's Day. For the red layer, this is a piece of Sweet Sorbet. It's 3/4 of an inch wide and it's 4 1/4 inches long. I'm gonna trim that. So now this is gonna go right there. Now for this one, I definitely want to use liquid glue because you're going to want to be able to slide it ever so slightly if it's not centered just right. So in order to do that, you need to put on some liquid glue. It's the Tombow mono adhesive. I know it's going to go right about there. And there we go. Okay. To adhere it, I am going to use some dimensionals. So I don't want the dimensionals to go on top of the twine. So I'm going to get my large dimensionals and do a little snipping. So I have 2 of the large dimensionals. I'm just gonna snip them in half, like so. Now you could use the smaller dimensionals, but I like the way this gives you almost like a little tunnel for the twine to go through. So I apologize for my double jointed fingers. I know they look kind of weird sometimes. Just double jointed. All right. We're gonna put that right about here. That twine will fit right between our dimensionals. Now do we just need a little bling? So I have the the matte dots that go with the In Color, the 2022-24 matte decorative dots, and I cut them apart so they're easier to manage. To put on the dimensionals, it's so nice to have this take your pick tool. I know before I got this tool, there was many a time I flung a dot or something across the room because it kind of flew up on me. But now you just move it onto your little take your pick tool. It's fabulous. Okay, I want that about the same distance. And one more right about here. The magic of 3. And there it is. Our Country Floral Lane, Country Bouquet, Valentine's card.